With our homework file now downloaded to our desktop, it's time to turn our attention to the IntelliJ IDE. IntelliJ is the component we will be using to process all of our Java code. But before we even begin to get into our homework, I want to make sure your machine is properly configured for Maven. Maven is the automation tool we will be using for building and running all of our Java files. To confirm this, click on the Configure button at the bottom of your screen. For Mac users, you will see Preferences. For Windows user, I believe you will see Settings. Click Preferences or Settings. Go into the Editor tab, File and Code Templates. Click on Other. Down here, you will see Maven. And click on Maven project.xml. What we are looking for are these two tags, these property tags, and these Maven compiler information. We're going to be using version 1.8 of Maven throughout this course. If you do not have these tags inside your Maven project XML, I would highly suggest pausing this video, going back to the Git book, and reviewing the Updating the POM template in IntelliJ topic inside Module 1 and Lesson 1. This will give you detailed instructions on how you go through updating this file appropriately. Once that is done, and your Maven project XML looks like this, you can return to this video. Once your Maven file does look like this, hit OK, and we get back to the main screen. From this main screen, we are going to navigate into our homework file. Click Open, and using either Explorer or the Finder, navigate to your working folder and to your homework. When you get to your homework folder, click Open. And you should see a screen similar to mine open up in IntelliJ. On the left-hand side, you will see our homework file. If you expand it, you will see a series of folders. We will start by exploring the kata instructions.md. MD just stands for Markdown. This kata instructions is where all of the instructions for your deliverables will be found. If we look at quickly our homework assignment in Git book, we will see our deliverables for the day were a chatty program, a postcard from me, Marvel table, and then formatted output. If we go back to IntelliJ, we will see the kata instructions contain instructions for a chatty program, a postcard from me, Marvel table, and then the challenge formatted output. Again, you are never required to do the challenge or bonus activity, but it does help you to stretch your skills a little bit. Now that we've seen the instructions, let's turn to where we will actually write the code. You will notice that inside of the starter code file, you will see a project file, U1, M1, L1, katas. M1 is for Module 1, L1 is for Lesson 1. That is what we will be working on today. We know this is the primary IntelliJ project folder because it contains the POM XML. If you expand it, you will see the POM XML file showed up. The POM XML, which is what ties into Maven, which is stated before, is our automation tool that will help us run our Java files. If we click on the POM XML, you will see something similar to what we did when we explored that Maven project.xml file a few seconds ago. You will see these property tags containing the Maven compiler information here at the bottom. One thing you will notice is that my pom.xml file has an orange slash through it. If you see that, right-click on the pom XML, scroll to the bottom, and click Add as Maven Project. When you do this, you will notice that your pom.xml file has the Maven N next to it. In order for your files to run properly, your pom XML has to have a Maven M next to it. Now that our pom file is set up appropriately, we can close this. We want to now navigate into our source file. In source, you will see main and you will see test. If we navigate into the main file, you will see the package com.company, and you will see a list of Java files. And we know they're Java files because if we click on it and it opens up a tab, it has a chattyprogram.java as its extension. But you will see that each of these Java files corresponds to what you have as deliverable. A chatty program contains the package com.company that will be covered in your first lesson. It will contain a class with the same name as the deliverable, a chatty program, and it will also contain your main method. As you will see in your lesson, your main method is what you need to actually run the Java file. A main method is required. You're going to write all of your code inside this particular main method, and you will do the same for a postcard from me, a Marvel table, and if you choose to do formatted output. They all have a class and a main. Again, you are to write your code inside of the main. So if we go back to a chatty program, you can also go back to kata instructions. And if you right-click on kata instructions and you choose to split either vertically or horizontally, you can have both the required instructions and the Java file open at the same time so that you can code exactly to the requirements that are included in the instructions. So for a chatty program, we are being asked to reproduce code that looks like the following output. So I'm going to go inside of my main, and I'm going to generate the instruction to print output. Again, this will be covered in lesson 1. And I'm going to work through mirroring the requirements for this program. Now that I have written all my code for a chatty program into my Java file to match what is in the requirements, I'm going to undertake the most important part of turning in a successful homework. I'm going to run my code against the included tests. If we go back over to the left side of the screen and we look inside of source again, we saw that there was the main where we did our coding, but there's also a test file. If we navigate inside the test folder, we will see Java and it's green. We go into com.company, which is the package that matches what we have in source and main. And we see a series of test files. You must run your code against the associated test file and make sure that that test passes in order to get credit for this particular kata. if we navigate to a chatty program and right-click on it, you will see the choice Run a Chatty Program Test. If we click on that, we will see that our chatty program test does not pass. If it passed, we would get a green check. Now, even though if we go back to a chatty program and run it itself, and we see the output, it does not pass the required test. If we examine the test results, we see what our code is, we see what the expected code is. We can go down here and see a click to see difference selection. It pops up a window that shows exactly what our errors are, the expected versus the actual. And we will see that I have a couple of errors. I have how are your, and my text has 3 exclamation points, whereas the expected has 2. At this point, I can go back into my code and correct it for the corresponding errors. Your, if we get rid of the exclamation point, we go back down to a chatty program and we run it, we will see, based on this green check mark, that my output now passes the test. That way, I know that I'm going to get credit for successfully completing this deliverable. Now, I have gone through and written the code for a postcard from me, formatted output, and a Marvel table. So what I'm going to do is run all kata tests the same way I ran a chatty program tests, and it will get me the results of all 4 of my deliverables. You will see a chatty program, formatted output, a postcard from me, and Marvel table all pass the required tests. That means I have successfully completed my homework. Again, a successful homework completion is passing all of the required tests as they are associated with your deliverables. The tests are included inside the kata file. They are already there. You are writing your code inside this corresponding class and main that is linked to the tests so everything passes. Again, your code must be written inside the main of the corresponding Java program in order for the test to be run and successfully passed. If you are working through this and have any questions, please do not hesitate to Slack your instructional staff. But the key to this is all my tests have passed, which means I can move on to the submission part of my homework assignment. I'm going to navigate back to my Finder window into my starter code. And I know now that the katas folder contains all of my completed Java folders. I can go in here and I will see all the code. It can open it back up. So what I'm going to do from my Finder window is navigate back, and I'm going to copy this U1, M1, L1 katas file. From there, I am going to navigate to my Susan Lipa GitHub repository. In my GitHub repository, I'm going to create a new folder. Now that we have uploaded our homework into our GitHub repository and verified that everything we've expected is there, the last step in the process is to send an email to the enterprise grader at IntelliJ trilogyed.com email address. To do this, I'm going to copy the URL that I see. I'm going to navigate to my Gmail account. The email address, as mentioned earlier, is enterprisegrader@trilogyed.com. The title of the email should be first name, last name, homework, and the date of submission. I'm going to write a little note, and I'm going to copy the URL. And then I'm going to send it away. And that should complete the homework submission process. Thank you very much. And again, please Slack us if you have any questions. Thank you.